Just started the recording again, and after a long time there were exams in my college. That's it. So today with cyber kill chain, a new room was introduced 67 days ago, which is a very fresh thing. I don't know what it is, but we'll see together what is it. So the introduction, inspired by military kill chains. The cyber kill chain is a cyber security framework introduced by Lockheed Martin in 2011. It is created to help organizations defend against cyber attacks by understanding how they conduct. The cyber kill chain divides the attack into 7 stages. Reconnaissance. In the first stage, the attacker gathers information about the target. Weaponization. Once proper reconnaissance is conducted, the attacker creates a deliverable payload or modifies an existing one based on the target system vulnerability. Delivery. Once ready, the attacker sends the weaponized payload to the target. Exploitation. Once executed, the payload exploits a vulnerability. Installation. The exploit enables the attacker to install a backdoor or malware, maintain persistence in the target's environment. Command and control. C2. Using the installed backdoor, the attacker can control the compromised system. Actions on objectives. Reaching this far, the attacker can now carry out further actions such as data exfiltration or other systems exploitation. When an organization learns about each stage, it has better chances to break the chain and interrupt the attack. Learning objectives. Upon the completion of this room, you will learn about the 7 stages of cyber kill chain, exploit various attacks. Example within each stage. Visit different defense examples related to each stage. Cybersecurity 101 path. Okay, I have partially completed the cybersecurity 101 path. I'll just close the desktop audio. It looks very bad. Reconnaissance has its origins in the military and refers to the acts of gathering information about the target. In cybersecurity, this stage collects information about the target, vulnerabilities, and weakness to discover potential entry points. Okay, reconnaissance can be divided into two types: passive and active. So when carry out passive reconnaissance, the attacker performs their activity without making any noise, for the example using open source intelligence OSINT. However, in case of active reconnaissance, the attacker cannot remain completely quiet and invisible. It requires some form of interaction with the target organization, such as social engineering against the target personnel or scanning a target system for vulnerability. So basically, they are telling us about OSINT, open source intelligence, usage of OSINT, and how social engineering works in reconnaissance. Okay, we have learned this in cybersecurity 101 for sure. Wait a second. So reconnaissance example, there are many examples of what an attacker might do in the reconnaissance phase. Recon, basically passive recon. Let's consider a few examples of passive recon. The first example that comes to mind are Whois and DNS database. The Whois database can reveal contact information, registration date, and domain owners unless hidden using a privacy service added on. Query the DNS database can reveal Querying the DNS database can reveal the DNS server and public IP addresses. Other example of passive reconnaissance including website reconnaissance by crawling, scraping, social media reconnaissance, and Google dorking, that is using search engine to reveal sensitive information and confidential files. Active recon. As already mentioned, active recon can get noisy. One typical example is network port scanning using nmap, and most intrusive example is including vulnerability scanning such as SQL map. Furthermore, physical reconnaissance is typically when attacker might visit the target's premises to identify entry points, study the security measures, and observe personal behavior. Countermeasures against recon example future tactics including minimizing public information exposure, minimizing public information exposure. This countermeasure can be achieved by limiting the information on websites, social media accounts, and DNS records. Furthermore, whois records should not reveal any name or address that are best left private. Many registrars offer a privacy service, usually for an added cost. Monitoring and analyzing network traffic and logs is a must to detect vulnerabilities and network port scans. The system team must monitor the traffic actively to detect scanning traffic. Check the service logs to uncover reconnaissance attempts. Okay, what is the term used? Term for using search engines to reveal sensitive information. Google dorking, maybe. Yes, it is Google dorking. What type of reconnaissance is it when attacker checks social media pages? It is OSINT, basically passive reconnaissance. Weaponization. Once enough information has been gathered about the target, the attacker proceeds to the next stage, weaponization. Based on the information the attacker has gathered about the system, they can create a payload trailer to exploit the discovered weaknesses. Okay, the attacker might use a ready-made exploit, edit an existing one, or create one from scratch. Interesting. We should not note that various frameworks and toolkits can help them in this stage. Many attackers resort to the use of obfuscation or encryption to evade detection. Furthermore, they might hide it in innocuous looking file such as MS Word or a PDF file. The critical thing to note is that at the end of the stage, a deliverable malicious file will be ready to be delivered to the target system. Weaponization examples: after recon phase, the attacker has identified the vulnerabilities to the target. They must use proper exploit code to create their cyber weapon. What can that cyber attacker weaponize? Everything from an email attachment to a USB. Attacker might use one of the available exploit kits. An exploit kit is an automated platform containing various exploits for various vulnerabilities. These platforms make it easy for attacker to package the exploit code within a payload, such as an executable file or specific document. Thankfully, not all documents can be weaponized. To carry exploit code, attackers usually rely on creating Microsoft Office documents with malicious codes. Malicious macros. If macros are enabled, a macro executes a saved set of instructions when document is opened. Once the malicious file is ready, the attacker might craft a phishing email. Okay, a new form of attack. Basically, we have learned how to deploy shell on a website, how to maintain connection, and how to make connection. But this is something new, sending a Microsoft Office file with malicious macros and macros enabling instructions, and using phishing email. It is something new. Set up a web page to host it or save it in on a USB memory drive. On the other hand, if the attacker wants to target a vulnerable service, the attacker needs to plan how to deliver the payload to the vulnerable service in the next phase. Countermeasures against weaponization. Example: on the defender's side, user training is indispensable. When a user receives an email, they need to be careful if it contains any attachment. Moreover, they should know how it inspects to check its legitimacy. So basically, if you are working on a PC or laptop allotted by the company, you should not open any malicious emails or emails sent by unknown users. It may cause blunders. User cybersecurity training is continuous process and an indispensable piece of any solid defense. In addition to user training, it is reasonable to disable any unnecessary feature, uninstall unnecessary software, and remove unnecessary browser plugins. It is crucial to restrict potential risky features, such as disabling macros in official documents or limiting them to signed and trusted sources, such as policies can be enforced via Windows group policy help which helps reduce the potential attack surface. What technique is mentioned to evade detection? By making it challenging to analyze the malicious code. Encryption. No, it is not encryption. Weaponization. It is not weaponization as well. Malicious macros is one thing and obfuscation is one thing. It is I don't yes, it is the answer, I think. Just some tough words. What built-in feature makes creating a malicious MS Office document possible? Macro. Yes, it is correct. Delivery. In previous stage, the attacker prepared a tailored payload, and now they need to find a suitable way to transmit to the target environment. They can pick any appropriate delivery method using information gathering from reconnaissance. Delivering examples, attacker can keep getting creative for successful delivery. Phishing emails, invoice.pdf.exe, program.exe, spear phishing emails, malicious web links. Spear phishing emails to target the attack when email are crafted to resemble legitimate communication from a source known or trusted by a recipient. For example, the sender's name and email address are spoofed to appear as recipient's manager. Malicious web links. The attacker might host the exploit kit on the public websites. Domain spoofing and URL shortening are also used to make the links appear less suspicious. File sharing platforms. Attacker might upload malicious files to the file sharing web services. We have seen this. We have seen this also. I think I have shown you this, but I don't remember in which video. I'm just sitting here after my exams, college exams, which were internal exams, and currently I was doing basic rooms and informational rooms, but was not doing any challenging or hard rooms. Will do a hard room this week, I think, and this month, that is September or October, I don't know. August, September we will complete an insane difficulty room that is basically what imitates the real life and shows how things work in real life. And I have some plans I will tell you after this video ends. Countermeasure of physical social engineering. Malvertising. The attacker shows advertisement on legit website to redirect users to malicious page. I have seen this, but I don't know how it is done. I'll learn this maybe somewhere. It is not present on normal web. SMS phishing, smishing. The attacker sends text malicious links. This is the most common thing. Social engineering. The attacker might convince an unsuspecting user to download or run malicious program. Physical means to delivery. The malicious code might be saved in a USB flash drive. Another example is mailing innocuous looking DVD containing malicious program. The attacker must always provide a convincing context. There are movies based on this, I think, if you have seen that, where physical means are used to deliver malicious code. There are many movies present out there. Countermeasures against delivery. It is like a cyber arm race where the defense team must work against every delivery method they are aware of. The list starts with user training in cybersecurity awareness. The users are educated about safe browsing, phishing, social engineering attacks. Going beyond user trainings, email and web filtering are standard in many organizations. Web application firewalls indispensable in blocking malicious files available via web. Moreover, network monitoring and patch management become increasingly vital in large corporations. Many other defenses tactics exist to break the attack chain, preventing the successful delivery of malicious payload. That's it for this, and we'll just answer this. What method involves showing advertisement on legit website? Uh, it is not phishing. Malvertising. Okay. Malvertising. What phishing attack sends text message and malicious code? Smishing. It is shown here. Smishing. Exploitation. Following the successful delivery of malicious payload comes the exploitation stage. The exploitation can take various forms such as software vulnerability, a weak password, or system misconfiguration. Exploit example: the attacker may use various ways to exploit a system. The most straightforward approach is targeting a password based on authentication system. If the password is default or weak password, the attacker can, if the password is not filtered, the attacker can attack. Attacker can use phishing or more sophisticated techniques. Software vulnerability is present. Another doors for attacker. Vulnerabilities can cover both client system and network services. New vulnerabilities discovered regularly, and it is usually only a matter of time before attacker develops working exploit code. And an exploit is made available before the vendor becomes aware that a vulnerability exists in their product. In this case, it's called a 0-day. Okay, we have seen 0-day exploits. There are many other vulnerabilities that could exploit, ranging from SQL injections to buffer flow, depending on specific vulnerabilities. This can create an easy entry. Basic things: if you have completed cybersecurity 101, you must have knowledge about this exploitation examples and countermeasures against exploitation examples. The security team must be aware of the solution disrupt exploitation. We will list a few. Password requirements should be enforced. Multi-factor authentication. MFA prevents an attacker to achieve any gain even with valid set of login credentials. Two-factor authentication, three-factor authentication are some example of multi-factor authentication. Patch engagement for servers. Eradicating vulnerability scanning is necessary. Left vulnerabilities left unpatched. Intrusion intrusion prevention system IPS can play a significant role in blocking various exploitation attempts by inspecting the traffic for known exploits. Web application firewalls (WAF) can block a variety of attacks against web applications such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and cross-site request forgery (CSRF). We have seen this, but we don't. I think I haven't uploaded this yet. I'll see. Uh, which video is for this? I don't remember any of the videos that I have recorded. What type of exploit is used before the vendor becomes aware of a vulnerability? What type of exploit is used before the vendor becomes zero-day exploit? Exploits. Sorry. What technology is mentioned to prevent an attacker from gaining access? MFA, multi-factor authentication, or there are many. Installation. Following the successful exploitation of the target system, the installation phase ensures persistent access or to exploited system. Consequently, the attacker can return to the exploited system later without going through the exploitation phase again. The keyword here is persistence. Installation. Examples. Regardless of an approach used, persistent access must be guaranteed in future. Otherwise, the attacker cannot continue to later phases. To maintain persistent access, sometimes creating scheduled tasks in MS Windows or setting a cron job in Linux system is necessary. Other times they can modify the startup scripts or configuration files, installing a new service in Windows or daemon in Linux is one possible approach. Attacker might resort installing malware, creating backdoors, installing rootkits. Uh, Further, they take try to take advantage of system inbuilt such as legitimate Windows tools and binaries. I have seen legitimates like my laptop tools. If my company is Acer or any else MSI, they will make a tool like MSI bin or msi.exe, something like that, and it will run forever and you will not suspect that it is a malicious code or exploit. That's why firewalls and such things are used to stop the exploit from gaining advantage to a system. In some cases, the attacker need to download the execute additional payloads to fortify their access. For example, they might deploy a web shell after exploiting a web application. A web shell is a small script written in a programming language that is supported by exploited server. We have seen what is web shells. We don't need to learn about that. Countermeasures, endpoint detection and response, allowing monitoring endpoints for suspicious activities such as unusual process creation, file modification in sensitive directories, an unexpected network connection. Regular system audits and comparison against a secure baseline are necessary to identify unauthorized changes such as a new created user account, new installed service. Some configuration management tools help automate this process. Okay, we need to learn many tools. I'll just start learning tools when I'm not recording. Instead of doing rooms on TryHackMe, I'll start learning tools, and if possible, this setup, this Chrome and VMware setup is what I like to work on. But if possible, I will record that video of trying tools. We'll see, or else this try hack me thing, I'll just reduce the recordings of Try Hack Me, and I'll start Hack the Box, which is basically a level up. I don't I think it is a level up cause I have tried Hack the Box and it was a little bit harder than what I have seen here in Try Hack Me. I don't know what you guys think, but I think Hack the Box is harder. And also I'll upload videos of machines like which are present on basically which can be exploited. I don't know what we call them. We need to use a VMware for that machines and we can exploit them using our attack box. That's it. I'll just start that once I'll finish this recordings. I think I have done recordings of 12 to 13 days by now, and I have uploaded 5 to 7 days I think. And yes, we'll see. I'll not stop uploading content. I'll take breaks but not stop uploading contents for sure. What tactics allow attackers to execute operating system commands on target? Web shells. What technique is mentioned to prevent execution of unauthorized malicious software by allowing approved application to run? Countermeasures, no. Approved applications to run. Endpoint detection, EDR, no, not endpoint detection and response. Another approach is allow listing, allow application, allow listing. This last thing, I'll just copy this question and paste it into my Notion. Okay. Command and Control C2. Following a successful installation and persistent access with the target environment, the attacker needs to maintain reliable and discrete access to the compromised system so that they can later act on their objective. The Command and Control C2 phase aims to establish this covert communication channel for use in the next phase. In phase, the attackers set up C2 communication channel between the compromised system and their own infrastructure. The attacker can use various techniques to create such infrastructure as domain names, IP address, and cloud services to evade detection. The attacker might resort to different methods, example including create random domain and frequently changing the IP address. In some cases, the attacker might use seemingly legitimate domains so as not to raise suspicion. It is common to use encryption among other types of obfuscation techniques to avoid getting discovered. Command and control example. We will list few tactics to employed by C2 infrastructure to achieve resilient covert communication. The first tactic is use common application layer protocol HTTP, HTTPS, DNS, and SMTP for C2 communication, which allow blending with legitimate traffic. Furthermore, C2 infrastructure may use encrypted channels such as HTTPS to hide from the network monitoring tools. It is also possible to use DNS tunneling, that is encoding data within DNS requests, to bypass various security solutions and firewalls. Regarding domain address, C2 communication can use social media platforms such as direct messages to send commands to a botnet. I don't know what a botnet is. I'll learn about that soon, or maybe I'll search that on Google. Another option is to use legitimate cloud service such as Dropbox and Google Docs, especially for data exfiltration. I don't know how to use cloud services like Dropbox and Google Docs for data and exfiltration. I haven't seen that yet, but one day we'll see what is that. Also, if the attacker registers their own domain name uses to establish C2 infrastructure, it was too busy to take it down. It will be too easy to take it down. Therefore, the C2 relies on the various techniques to ensure resilient communication. Example include domain registration algorithm DGAs and flash flux. DGA refers to creating a vast number of domain names. For example, 50,000. Using a predefined algorithm, the owner of the C2 infrastructure register only 1% or 2%. The malware it in turn will iterate over this extensive list till it finds an active one. If the domain gets blocked or seized, the malware switches it to the next active one. Fast flux associates hundreds or thousands of IP addresses with a single domain name. Further, these IP addresses are swapped every few minutes. Example IoT devices such as proxies to forward traffic to hidden C2 server. If any IP address that is proxy node gets blocked, the malware automatically switch to the following IP address. Countermeasures: firewalls, IDS, IPS. What is IPS? Intrusion prevention system. A significant role detecting and blocking C2 traffic. It is essential to watch for unusual traffic patterns and volumes connection to the to known malicious IP address, because DNS traffic can be used to tunnel C2 traffic. Monitoring DNS traffic and analyzing DNS requests is equally vital, especially stumbling across usually long or detecting high volumes of requests. Basically, many websites today also blocks directory searching and such functionality, or using of such tools. Requests from single IP addresses are also blocked. Using nmap is also blocked in many websites. So they have made enumeration very tough, but you can use delays and other things to do enumeration as well. Many security teams go a step further and deploy honeypots to detect and analyze C2 communication attempts. Oh, honeypots is a thing I have seen it on X, but I don't know what a honeypot is, and we'll see it later what it is. And it is basically something that is a trap which is deployed for malicious users which perform malicious actions on the web server or website. So honeypots are set up for them to detect their IP address and block them instantly if possible. Something like that. And it might be wrong, but it is something related to detecting attacks. What is the name of the tactic where data is hidden within DNS queries? Data is hidden within DNS queries. Web exploitation. Sorry for the disturbance. Started the recording. Web exploitation is incorrect. Oh, DNS queries. I think I have read this, but I don't remember what was it. I need to revise everything. I'll complete this video and revise once again, gaining my powers back. What is the name of tactic where data is hidden within DNS queries? DNS queries. Data is hidden within encoding data within DNS queries to bypass. It is DNS tunneling. Okay. DNS tunneling. It is correct. And what protocol would the attacker use to smuggle his data as encrypted web traffic? HTTPS. Action on objectives. After establishing a covert C2 communication, I always read it as convert. I don't know why. The attacker can carry out their original goals. In this phase, the attacker executes their original goals, which ranges from data exfiltration to service disruption. Actions on objectives. Examples. The attacker might be targeting an organization for a variety of reasons. Some attacks are blaring. For example, if the attacker is only interested in seeking damage, they can launch a destructive attack by deleting or corrupting data to disrupt normal system operations. On the other hand, attacker might be after financial gain, quick riches, usually by carrying out some ransomware attack, or might be trying to get rich more discreetly, such as financial theft via unauthorized wire transfers and other fraudulent transactions. In an covert attack, such as industrial and political espionage, the attacker would be most interested in stealing sensitive files from their target, commonly called data exfiltration. Alternative, if the attacker is interested in gaining access to the other system on the target networks, they will try stealthy compromise other system on the networks. That is lateral movement. Depending on the target organizations, the attack actor might be interested in manipulating industrial control systems, ICs, ICS. It is equally plausible that this is preceded by establishing a long-term persistence presence, so they carry out the attack at the time of choosing. Their execution depends on threat actor on and their motives. We mention a few examples, but list can get much longer. Countermeasures. Let's explore few countermeasures. Organization can consider data loss prevention. DLP solutions can play a key role in preventing unauthorized data exfiltration. Establishing a reliable backup and recovery plan is indispensable to mitigate ransomware and other destructive attacks. To minimize damage an attacker can cause, an organization needs to consider network segmentation and strict access control. And big organizations implement this, which is network segmentation and access controls. Even their employees can not access many things which are irrelevant to them, and making them more secure from suspicious things. Network segmentation isolate critical system. In the case of compromised segmentation, attacker move laterally. Moreover, access controls principle least privilege limit who can access the system and data. But if someone has the access of your computer, he can also do privilege escalation. There are many techniques to do that. We haven't learned that kind of privilege escalation in which a low privilege user can escalate his privileges. We have seen one or two techniques, but I don't think they work in real life. They were just the example of what privilege escalation looks like in real world. User activity monitoring helps detecting suspicious behavior. For example, you would not expect your user sending DNS queries after midnight. Exactly. Endpoint detection and response solution offer an excellent choice for monitoring and detecting suspicious activities. Okay, what term is stealing sensitive files from a target? Stealing sensitive file from target. Wire attacks. Wire. What kind of attack was that? Uh, wire transfers are there, but I don't think it is the correct answer. Stealing sensitive file from target network. Data exfiltration is the thing. How can I forget this? What term is it is not data exfiltration as well. I don't think it is data exfiltration because yes, it is data exfiltration. I wrote it incorrectly. What principle limits who can access sensitive systems and data to minimize damage caused by an attacker? Privilege of deciding privilege of users, or what you can say, network strict access control, network segmentation. What principle limits who can access sensitive system and data to minimize damage caused by an attacker? Privilege, it is related to privilege, least privilege of uh, what is the name of the principle? I don't know the name of the principle, but it is something related to users. Network segmentation isolates critical system in the case of compromised system, and to minimize damage attacker can cause. Organized needs to consider network segmentation and strict access control. Segmentation of network is incorrect. What principle limits who can access sensitive data? uh I don't know. Okay, so the last questions are basically related to blue teaming thing, and I don't have much answers for that questions because I haven't tried or been to that blue teaming thing much. I'm interested in machines and other things, CTFs. So, what principle limits who can access the sensitive system and data to minimize the damage caused by an attacker? I'll just read this. Industrial control systems. To minimize damage an attacker can cause, an organization needs to consider network segmentation and strict access control. Network segmentation isolates critical system. Case of a compromised system. Second, prevent attacker from moving laterally. Moreover, access control and principle of least privilege limit. Principle of least privilege limit is the answer, I think. Yes, it is the answer. Principle of least privilege. This was the most disturbing answer I have seen in Try Hack Me. I don't know why, but what is this? What type of attack involves encrypting files and demanding payment? Ransomware attack. where an attacker asks for ransom. In this room, we have discovered cyber kill chains in 7 phases. The most damage occurs in the last phase. However, companies can protect themselves against such damage if they interrupt the chain in early stages. Consequently, the focus on defensive security teams such as blue team, yes, exactly, and offensive security teams such as pen testers or red teamers need to follow the steps of real adversaries to ensure that their attack simulation is realistic. This company allows to test its defense and learn whether existing security control are effective, and drag and the action to the correct stage. Compile a malicious program. So discovering a weak password, adding malicious for using SMTP, network port scanning is enumeration, and it is basically okay. So I have to track this. Compiling a malicious program, exploitation. Discovering a weak password is recon or command control installation. Exploitation, recon, weaponization, delivery, actions on objective. It is a recon, I think. How to see it is correct or not, I don't know. Sending phishing emails, command and control. Using SMTP for action, installation, sending phishing emails, weaponization, delivery, action on objectives, key logging, restart. Deploy a web shell is Google dorking is recon. Weaponizing, so domain general algorithm, login with default credentials is weaponization. Exploitation, upload malicious file to file sharing platform is exploit, or compiling malicious software. Delivery, domain general administration, deploy web shell, no, manipulate ICs. I don't know what the hell is this. I'll just OSINT and active recon, social engineering. Deploy web shell, whois query, conducting fraudulent transactions, whois query, login with default credentials, smishing. I don't think whois query is weaponization. Deploy web shell. Use HTTP delivery, exploit, and Smishing. Alas, you are not done yet. I don't know why I get stuck in this drag and drop thing. The previous room in which I did this drag and drop thing, I was stuck in that also. I get confused always. It is basic match the following. Delivery. Sending spear phishing email is delivery. Weaponization. Network port scanning is recon. So we'll do this. Action on objectives is the last thing that I will put in this list for sure. Weaponization. Adding a malicious service in MS Windows is basically creating a malicious document, and exploitation adding a malicious MS. Then discovering a weak password is, I don't know, corrupt data, fast flux. C2C. Discovering a weak password, adding a malicious. Hello. This was the most difficult thing for me. Match the following. Congratulations on finishing this room. Crazy room. I learned many things in this, and basically it was revision of cybersecurity 101. Good room, medium difficulty. The last task was this difficulty medium. Else the room was easy to find the things. I'll start another room maybe, or we'll start hack the box. I'll just see how it works. I haven't seen how hack the box works, or else some write up techniques or things like that we'll try. I will upload the video of write up techniques before this, and we'll try writing a write up of a machine that will exploit. I'll record the video and show you guys. So this was it for this video. We'll just continue. We'll see you in the next